Hey everyone, it's me, your friend Shaun, and here we are doing another COVID conversation. I want you to meet a dear friend of mine. Samantha Lauzon is joining us from Montreal today. She's a trans activist and storyteller. If you're a reader of the Gay Guide Network, you will be familiar with her at Pride Time in Montreal every August, because you always do something with us there. I was realizing, Samantha, welcome to the conversation. I was realizing that this shirt that I'm wearing, I had on the last time I saw you in Montreal at Pride.
Oh my God, that's right. When I interviewed you backstage.
I haven't been home yet.
Oh,
I haven't
honey,
been home.
that's okay. If I wouldn't come home either.
Still making my way. How have you been keeping during this experience?
In all honesty, I have been coping in the most self-sabotaging way. Like, I've been drinking excessive amounts of liquor. And I just did the math yesterday, and I was like, girl, you know that if you weren't buying booze, like, you could have already paid off your credit card.
Right. I don't think people listening are unfamiliar with that. There's a meme going around, and it's a relay, and it has a cup of coffee handing a relay baton off to the glass of wine. Like,
if there's anything good that's come out of this, is the fact that if I'm drinking a glass of wine at 10 o'clock in the morning, no one's judging me.
No one is judging you, and no one's judging you. Probably some people are judging. And speaking of judging, one of the things that you and I got into a conversation offline, I said, you have to come on, we have to talk about this with people. So in our LGBTQ plus community, known as a sex positive community, and certainly as a member of the gay male community that I identify with,
yep.
It's been a problem, not for all, but for some, to maintain physical distance when they're used to being out and about, getting laid whenever they want to. I mean, the one thing I think a lot of straight people who might be watching this will understand is that it's like ordering in. It's that easy. Whereas I know with a lot of other situations, there's a whole bit of work gets done before any move happens. Whereas here, it's not the case. And so when you're used to going at 100, it's not easy going down to 0. And
no,
I personally applaud the people who are practicing harm reduction by reducing, the number of partners that they're having, even the way in which they're having sex. I know one person went to a hookup, and the guy he met had a plastic bag at the door. He said, put your clothes in this bag, tied them up, go have a shower, made him have a hot shower and wash right down. And then they had sex, and there was no face-to-face contact in this at all. Like, so, they did it from behind.
Okay. You would think that myself working in porn, I would have automatically been like, oh, okay, yeah. But no, I literally, in my head, I was like, no face-to-face contact.
No face-to-face contact. So trying to reduce as much as possible. I applaud that, but not everybody, and I know because I talk to a lot of people, not everybody's having an experience like someone saying, good for you. They're being shamed and they're being judged, and you know about that, you've seen that.
Yeah, the thing is, like, working in my industry, working in the adult industry, I still have to create content. I have membership sites that are expecting me to post content. So I'm now like having to be like, so I can't believe I'm going to say this on air. I used to film a series called I Met Him on My Knees. And the thing is that they come in, I don't touch anything but their privates, but they shower first, and then we make it seem as though they're just coming in first. So they have to come in, they shower, they walk out the door, they come back in, and they start filming as they walk in, and I'm there.
Yes.
There's no kissing, no intimacy, no nothing. It's just, let's get this done and over with, and then get the hell out.
Yeah.
And so I've decided that for me is probably the safest scenes for me to do right now.
Yes.
So I applaud the person who did it from behind, because I didn't think of that. Maybe the next one will be I met him on my knees.
I met him on my knees and hands.
Exactly. No, but it's difficult. I mean, people are paying $9.99 a month for my content.
Yes. And so there's an expectation that you do this. Have you been judged?
I have been. I've had people be like, "Oh, you're still filming," and I'm like, "Someone has to pay my bills. I'm not eligible for CERB." That whole government thing of like I like Trudeau. I like, not just because he's cute, because he is cute, but I like him. But the fact that he keeps touting that every Canadian is taken care of, well, they're not. Because sex workers, whether you're an escort, whether you work online, we're not taken care of. I'm so genuinely grateful that my online content is doing as well as it is, because my bills are getting paid.
Yes. So you've got bills to pay, you're doing your job, and
Yeah.
and you're getting judged. What kind of judgment or stigma have you received?
Mostly the whole, like, I hope you're wearing a mask. I hope you're like cleaning and clean. And I'm like, are you kidding me? My home has never been cleaner in my life.
No, you don't.
My OCD mother would be so proud of me right now.
You don't hope that. You hope you are being passive aggressive and judging, but you're using hope as a route to passive aggressively stick judgment in.
100%. Yeah. And the thing is like, as people persons like we are, I hear your judgment. I hear your question that you're asking, but I also hear the way you're asking it and your tone, and I hear the judgment.
Yes, I hear that.
Like, I don't understand that. Like, it would, for me, it would be the same as judging someone who has to work at a grocery store.
Yes.
They still have to work.
Yes.
They're taking precautions to be safe. I ask all of the same questions that everyone else does at those stores. Have you self-quarantined? Have you had any symptoms? I'm being as safe as I can. But yeah, there's so much judgment there about it.
Do you get back to people who judge you or stigmatize you?
It depends. It depends, honestly.
On how much, when you started drinking in the morning. Atta girl.
No, it depends on how everything is phrased. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, if I can genuinely sense a nastiness, oh, I'm going to reply, and I'm going to put you in your place faster than your mother ever did when you were a baby.
You put them in.
But if there's a sincere sort of like, are you being okay? Are you being safe? Then I don't necessarily bother with it.
You can feel it. Do you?
I can feel it.
Do you try and educate them?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you educate them?
I do. I tell them exactly what I'm doing. I tell them the safety precautions that I'm taking. Yeah. And then I tell them the same thing I just told you about the grocery store clerk. They still have to go to work. Some of them aren't eligible for CERB. I'm not eligible for CERB. If I don't create content, I don't make money, I don't have a home.
Yeah. I think everybody can understand that, whether they agree or not. And whether they agree or not isn't important.
Right? This is the first time the entire world is literally going through the exact same thing all together. We're all going through the same thing together. Some of us don't know where our food is coming from tomorrow. Me, I'm so lucky that I grew up poor. And I think I've talked about this before on your show. I'm so lucky that I grew up poor, because the moment I have money, I buy food. So that when I don't have money, when I have to pay all my bills all at once, there's still food in my freezer.
Yes.
There's still food in my fridge. And the idea that there's people out there that don't have that hurts me. That affects me.
Yes. What do you say about the judgment that's going on between guys? I don't know whether it's happening between girls or between different gendered people, but what do you say, because I do know it is happening between gay men, about the judgment that is being inflicted between them?
You know what?
Doing it for money. They're just doing it for pleasure. So now what do we think?
Okay, so you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, yes?
I actually don't, but go on.
You don't? Oh no. So Friday night's episode, Whoopi Goldberg was on it. And she did it, she went into Untucked, which I love. And she sat down with the girls and she said, don't put yourself down here. Don't start there. Because everybody else in the world is going to do that for you. Put yourself up here, start here, know your worth. And I think that people that are out there doing what they're doing for pleasure, whether we like it or not, psychologically, we need that connection.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, we need that. And so as long as people are being safe about it, oh my God, go ahead.
What about
Get her
people
done.
reckless about it? What people would call reckless, like not taking precautions, face-to-face contact, not, did you have a shower? I don't even know. What about those people?
I would say to them, I hope that you're getting tested and I hope that you test negative.
Yeah.
That's the best thing I can say, because, you know, it's like when I escort, I don't kiss my clients. It goes right back to that Pretty Woman scene where there's an intimacy to kissing.
Yes.
I don't kiss my clients because I don't want to be intimate with you. This is a transaction. And so people that are just kissing random people, I've never really understood that. Like, I've never connected with that, because I know it sounds so weird, because it's, to me, I think it is because I'm a sex worker, that it's just such an intimate thing to do.
No, it's not just that, because for me, there's a lot of other things I'll do before I ever kiss you. Things I'll do before I'll ever kiss you.
There's a certain something that from behind came to mind.
I have to really like you or be hot to want to kiss you. That's just the way it works.
Yeah.
I think what you said is important. You said it a few moments ago, that people need that physical contact. And I know that there are people who are watching this who would say, yes, but Shaun, there's plenty of people who need it, who aren't going out putting themselves and others at risk, right? But I would argue that some people have a greater need. And if you're used to having that need met all the time, it's almost like taking alcohol away from an alcoholic. You can't go from 100 down to 0. You have to increment wean yourself off. You can't. It's as damaging, I think, psychologically, as if you took alcohol away from an alcoholic or drugs away from an addict.
And and on top of the psychological thing, there's a physicality that comes with it as well, right? Yeah. Of the withdrawal.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That you feel physically, like you genuinely feel that physically. You feel it emotionally and mentally and physically, just not being able, like for me, you know, every time I've ever seen you, I've hugged you. I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
I love hugging people, because I think in a moment of hugging someone, no matter who it is, you can really feel who that person is, how they hug you.
Yeah.
And the fact that I've not been able to hug people, I literally went through withdrawal. I saw people on the street holding hands, like a couple. Obviously, they live together. I hope they do. But they're holding hands, and I wanted to run up and smack them. I was so jealous of the fact that they were able to have human contact.
A girlfriend of mine is going to help me out with a project, and she has to come by and pick some stuff up from me. And I haven't seen her in however many weeks or months this has now been. I've lost count. What is it today? Blur's Day, the 14th of Mayville.
Yeah.
As the meme goes.
Of Spinter, right? In Toronto, it's Spinter.
And she's got to come by and pick some stuff up. And yesterday, I was imagining giving her a great big hug, and then I was realizing I can't. I'm going to hand it off, and that's as close as we're getting. I'm going to get to see you, but I can't touch you. And as someone who understands what you're talking about with hugging, I felt this sense of disappointment. Janet's going to come by tomorrow, and I don't get to go. Argh!
I don't get to have that love of, you know, that.
Yes. And there's a lot in science and medicine about the effects of physical touch. So anyway, I just hope that if anyone's watching this who's been judgy, maybe consider dialing that down a little bit, because you don't take away from the problem as you see it. You add to the problem. You make people secretive. You make people feel ashamed. You dump stigma on them, and it makes them feel like they're less than. And everyone's doing the best they can with what they have during this. At all times they are. And so just dial it down a little, okay?
However, the one thing that I learned from working with Sasha, which is the Sexual Assault Hamilton area center in Toronto, was that every coping mechanism is valid. If you can get out of bed, oh God, I hope I don't start crying. If you can get out of bed right now, good for you.
Yeah.
If you can eat healthy, good for you. If you can work out right now, good for you. But how dare you judge anyone who can't do that right now?
Yes.
How dare you?
Yes.
Not everyone has that ability right now. Some people are dealing with, like we said, withdrawal. Some people are dealing with anxiety. Some people are dealing with depression. They're dealing with so many other things. And how dare you shame them? I saw a post on Facebook recently, and this was a longtime dear friend of mine, Shaun, and I blocked them. Their post was, you have no excuse anymore now to not work out and not eat healthy because you're at home. And I'm like, I quoted and I was like, listen, some people can't afford to eat healthy because guess what? A Happy Meal is $2.99. A salad at McDonald's is $6.99. What are you going to choose when you don't know where your money's coming from?
Well, excuse me. And the fact that I am at home is my reason to not work out, is my reason to eat poorly. I'm not eating particularly well at all. I'm not eating garbage, but I'm eating a lot of carbs, that's for sure. And my workout consists—
I've never eaten more frozen pizza in my life.
Yeah, so be it. And I like what you say. And, you know, I just said something a minute ago that I just want to repeat because it's important. And it's the first sort of spiritual concept that ever moved me or that I understood and that changed me. And it's what I said earlier. Everyone is doing the best they can with what they have. We all have our problems. We all have our tools. We all have our outlooks based on our lives that we've led and how we see the world. And everyone is navigating to the best they can. No one is trying to do their worst. There's nobody ever trying to do their worst. That's the best they got. And that changed me. And it's very applicable to this conversation right now. Stop judging. Stop judging.
Yeah. Just stop judging. Everyone else is already judging, especially in the queer community. Listen, everybody else is already judging us. Stop judging each other.
Well, we judge from within. Eat their own. From petting to pets. Way, not a very good one.
My fur baby's in his kennel right now looking at me like, what are you doing over there?
Growling and doing weird movements over here. Ella. You have an interesting experience with your dogs, and you learned something about COVID-19 and pets and how to—
I only have one now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. He passed away in December of 2017.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
and we have a cat now. And the cat and my dog, the very moment they met, they lied down together and were best friends, inseparable. Literally within seconds of her coming out of the kennel, they became best friends instantly.
Oh, I'm glad for that. So you were watching the news.
Yeah, I was watching CTV News with Mitsumi Takahashi, and a thing came up that if you had any COVID questions, you could email COVID questions at citytv.ca, or ctv.ca, sorry, not citytv. And so I questioned how often I should clean my dog. Because right now, while we're dealing with all of this stuff, I was like, I want to know how often he should be washed. I should have said that instead of cleaned, because she immediately within like 20 minutes emailed me back and was like, what is your phone number? Can I get a hold of you ASAP? So I sent her my number and she called me and she was like, Samantha, she was like, do not clean your dog. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't mean clean. I mean like, how often should I bathe him? And she was like, oh, okay. Because apparently someone had cleaned their dog's paws with disinfectant. And it had burned the pads off. And I'm like, I listen, I may drink a lot. I have never drank enough to think to put disinfectant on my dog anywhere.
Was this before or after Donald Trump was telling people to inject themselves with cleaner?
Before.
It was before. Oh, so we already had some. I don't mean it, you know.
You know, well, she
I just needed it in a picnic short, a sandwich short of a picnic way.
No, honey, they're a whole picnic short of a picnic, okay? That's what my mother would say. That person is a whole picnic short of a picnic. But I didn't know this, but Mitsumi has a couple of dogs. And so what I asked her was like something obviously very personal because she was worried. And so she called me and she told me what the vet had told her. And this information I'm going to pass on to everybody else. You don't need to clean your dog. Washing your dog with like dog soap, dog shampoo, obviously, if you want to do that, be my guest, do whatever you have to do. But you don't need to clean them. Just practice the exact same social distancing you're doing with humans, with pets. And the thing about it is that I joked about, and I joked about this with you earlier, I've been practicing social distancing with Charlie ever since he was a puppy because he had parvo. And after he had parvo as a puppy, he became very protective of me when he's on the leash. Even if it's a dog he's already met, he can get aggressive if he's on the leash.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing that all along. And so, yeah, so she just wanted to relay the message. And so I'm relaying it now as well. If you have a dog, practice social distancing. You don't have to worry about cleaning them.
Bathe them. Don't clean them.
Bathing them, yeah. Yeah.
And floors and tiles and faucets. You don't clean them. You just bathe them.
Well, what I was worried about was him bringing something in and Fifi catching it.
Yes.
Like that was my fear. My fear was if he happens to track it in on his paws, is it possible that he can give it to her? And Mitsumi was like, according to the vet, no, that's not how it's transferred through droplets of respiration.
Anything else you want to add before I let you go?
No, that's it, my love. Thank you for having me. It's been so great talking to you.
Nice to see your face.
I miss you. Change your goddamn shirt.
I thought it was so funny. I put it on. I was like, wait a minute. This is the last thing she was telling me. I still haven't made my way home. All right. I love you. Nice to see you.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.